provide visual clarity of various body positions, some models in this video are wearing leotards or similar attire. The properly groomed massage professional would wear more appropriate clothing, as demonstrated in the video, massage overview and draping procedures.
Massage traditionally depends on the skillful application of soft tissue manipulations. In this video, you will learn to perform 8 basic massage manipulations: effleurage or gliding strokes, petrissage or kneading, compression, vibration, shaking, rocking, tapotement or percussion, and friction. The massage professional must be proficient in these methods to provide effective results for the client. Let's begin with a look at the initial contact between the massage therapist and the client. The act of placing your hand on another person seems so simple, yet this initial contact must be made with respect and a client-centered focus. The first touch should be slow, gradual, and deliberate. Use an open, relaxed, warm hand to make contact with the client in a confident and secure manner. The resting position gives the client time to become used to the proximity of another human being. During a massage, the body needs a time of stillness to process all the sensory information it receives. Stopping massage manipulations and simply resting the hands on the body provide for this moment of stillness. After the application of the initial touch or resting position, effleurage is often done next in the sequence, especially if a lubricant is used. The long, broad movements of this method are excellent for spreading the lubricant on the skin surface. The focus of effleurage is horizontal motion. The gliding stroke is applied horizontally in relation to the tissues. It can be superficial or deep. The more superficial the stroke, the more reflexive the effect. Light stroking is done with the fingertips or palm of the hand. Slow, superficial strokes are soothing, while fast, superficial strokes are stimulating. Notice that small body areas such as fingers can be grasped and surrounded as effleurage is applied to the entire area. Superficial applications stay within the skin and subcutaneous layers. Moderate pressure, however, reaches the muscle tissue, but not so deep as to compress the tissue against the underlying bony structure. Moderate pressure puts sufficient drag on the tissue to mechanically affect the connective tissue and the proprioceptors found in the muscle. Heavy pressure produces a distinctive compressive force of the soft tissue against the bone. Petrissage, from the French verb pétrir, meaning to knead, requires that the soft tissue be lifted, rolled, and squeezed by the massage therapist. The focus of petrissage is vertical lifting. Once lifted, the full hand is used to squeeze the tissue as it rolls out of the hand, while the other hand prepares to lift additional tissue. Petrissage mechanically softens the superficial fascia and creates more space around the actual muscle fibers. This makes tendons more pliable. Petrissage is also good for decreasing muscle tone. By squeezing the belly of the muscle feels less hypertonic. The tendons are stretched when lifted. This reflexively relaxes the muscle to keep it from harm. A variation of this lifting manipulation is skin rolling. Both petrissage and skin rolling begin in the same position. However, instead of lifting the muscle away from the bone, skin rolling only lifts the skin. Notice also how the wrist goes under the tissue when applying petrissage, while the wrist goes over the tissue when skin rolling. You may pause the tape now to review the manipulations just covered, or you may continue to the next section to learn about compression, vibration, and shaking. Compression has developed as a distinct manipulation in recent years with the advent of sports massage and on-site corporate massage. Because compression uses a lift press method, it can be applied when a lubricant is undesirable. The focus of compression is a vertical pressing down. Compression moves down into the tissues with varying depths of pressure. Much of the effect of compression results from pressing tissue against the underlying bone, causing it to spread and be squeezed from two sides. The deeper the pressure, the more mechanical the effect. In compression, the therapist disconnects from the body with each lift and then reconnects with each press in a piston-like fashion. If there is no bony surface under the tissue, such as in the abdominal area, the tissue may be pressed between the therapist's hands in what is known as lateral compression. Vibration is a very powerful stroke, if it can be done long enough and with sufficient intensity to produce reflexive physiologic effects. Vibration tones muscles when applied for up to 30 seconds. It also breaks up the monotony of the massage by stimulating nerve activity. The focus of vibration is down and back and forth in an oscillating manner. Vibration can be applied with a stabilized hand or stabilized fingers. All vibration begins with compression. Begin by placing one hand on the client and compressing lightly. Then move the hand back and forth, using only the forearm muscles. Gradually speed up the back and forth movement, checking to make sure your upper arm stays relaxed. Also, make sure that you limit your motion to about 2 inches of space. Then make the back and forth movement smaller until the hand does not move at all on the tissue, but is trembling at high intensity. This is vibration. Here is another example of vibration demonstrated on a balloon to emphasize the results of the actions. Put a penny inside a clear 5-inch balloon. Then blow up and tie the balloon. Grasp the bottom of the balloon with one hand. Using wrist action only, circle the balloon until the penny begins to roll inside. Once you can do this, make the wrist circles smaller and smaller, while continuing to roll the penny in the balloon. Eventually, the action will be the movement required for vibration. Being able to perfect this balloon exercise will enhance your vibration skills. You may pause the tape now to practice what we have just covered, or you may continue to the next section to learn about shaking and rocking. Shaking is a massage method that is effective in relaxing muscle groups or an entire limb. Shaking manipulations confuse the positional proprioceptors, so the muscles relax. It also warms and prepares the body for deeper body work. In working with a client's arm, grasp the arm, lift it, and take up the slack in the tissues. Apply an abrupt shaking movement, going downward or side to side. The same technique can be done with the different muscle groups of the body. Grasp and lift the tissue, then apply the shaking motion. Make sure you stay within the limits of both the range of motion of a joint and the give of the tissue. Here is a practice activity you can do to become more proficient at shaking. Lift one end and practice shaking the sheet to achieve a wave-like motion in the sheet from one end to the other. Practice directing the ripple to various locations on the table. Rocking is a soothing and rhythmic method that reflexively calms people. It should be applied with a deliberate full-body movement. There is no abrupt action, as there is in shaking. For rocking to be most effective, the body must move so that there is an effect on the fluid in the inner ear, causing parasympathetic mechanisms to be initiated. The action moves the body as far as it will go, and then allows the body to return to the original position. After 2 or 3 rocks, you should be able to sense the client's rhythm. At this point, work with the rhythm, either by attempting to gently extend the limits of the movement or by slowing down the rhythm. You may pause the tape now to practice the manipulations we just covered, or continue to the next section to learn about tapotement or percussion and friction. Tapotement or percussion is a stimulating manipulation that operates through the response of the nerves. The focus of tapotement is a vertical, abruptly snapped-down motion. In tapotement, the therapist usually uses 2 hands alternately. The forearm muscles contract and relax in rapid succession to move the elbow joint into flexion and then allow it to quickly release. This action travels down to the relaxed wrist, extending it. The action comes from the elbow movement. You can apply the different methods of tapotement by changing the position of the hands. However, none of the tapotement strokes uses wrist action. There are various types of tapotement strokes: hacking, cupping, beating and pounding, slapping and tapping. Hacking is applied with the ulnar side of the hand. The fingers are spread and hit against each other with a springy touch. Use the full hand on the larger soft tissue areas. Point hacking is done with the fingertips and is used on the smaller areas, such as over motor points. When applying cupping, place the fingers and thumb into a bowl shape. Turn the hands over and use the same action as hacking. When applied to the thorax, cupping stimulates the respiratory system and loosens mucus. Beating and pounding are done with a soft fist. The action can be applied with the ulnar side of the hand, or the knuckles can be pointing down. The percussive action can also be done with the back of the hand, so the resulting resonance will be less abrupt and spread over a larger area. Slapping or splatting uses the whole palm of the flattened hand. The broad contact of the whole hand disperses the force laterally instead of down, and the effects remain on the superficial tissues. Tapping uses the palmar surface of the fingers to alternately tap the body with light to medium pressure. This method is good around the joints, on the tendons, on the face and head, and along the spine. You may pause the tape now to practice what we have just covered, or you may continue to the next section. The final manipulation the therapist needs to master is friction. The focus of friction is a vertical pressing down, followed by applying movement to underlying tissues. This method is used to keep high concentration areas of connective tissue soft and pliable. Due to its specific nature and direct focus on rehabilitation, the use of deep transverse friction is not suitable for the beginning level massage practitioner. The following segment demonstrates a modified application of friction which is appropriate for the beginner. Place the area to be frictioned in a soft or slack position. Using your fingers, your palm, or the flat part of your elbow, apply sufficient pressure to contact the tissue. Move the upper tissues back and forth across the fiber of the underlying tissue for transverse friction, or around in a circle for circular friction. Make sure your body mechanics are focused to provide support for your joints. Stabilize the movements with your other hand. Modify the pressure to work within the client's comfort zone. Friction should result in a tolerable level of discomfort, but not intense pain. Another effective way to produce friction is to combine compression with passive joint movement of the bone under the compression. This automatically adds the slack and stretch positions for the friction methods. Also, the joint movement provides a distraction from the pressure and discomfort. You have just learned 8 manipulations: effleurage or gliding stroke, petrissage or kneading, compression, vibration, shaking, rocking, tapotement or percussion, and friction. All of these manipulations must be performed in a biomechanically correct way in order to protect the practitioner in this labor-intensive portion of massage. By practicing and becoming proficient in these methods, the massage professional will be able to consistently achieve effective results for the client.